Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in IP&O. We are, of course, as always, live from the table in my kitchen, not the couch again. We're changing things up. We're keeping it interesting. We have a very special guest. We have Alex Delvecchio, who is the manager of the Rutgers Cinema. Alex, thank you for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me on. I appreciate it.
So,
welcome, Alex.
I think one thing that is would be interesting to a lot of people is that a year ago everyone kind of started working from home, and there's a lot of jobs where you just can't do that, and it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, what has it been like operating a movie theater over the past 12 months from the complete uncertainty a year ago till now?
Yeah, I mean, it really started last March 11th, right? So I remember that week even, we were meeting, trying to figure out how to stay open. And then maybe within 2 days, once the Utah Jazz game and Tom Hanks got COVID, obviously everything changed. And then all of a sudden by Sunday at 4:00, we were closed. It was over. And the crazy thing about it from my industry's perspective is we're open every day, 365 days. We never close. Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve, every day we're open. So to be closed one day for a blizzard is weird. We were closed from March 15th until October 23rd, like over 7 months, like not anything that I ever would have dreamed of, like in my worst nightmares that would ever happen. And it was just so surreal. And at the same time, I still had to come in every day to power the equipment up, make sure everything doesn't die, because these projectors are like airplanes, they're meant to run. So I was just coming into an empty campus every day, filling out the My Campus Pass. But really, it was a ghost town. It was just so surreal, especially, April, May, June. It was just so surreal to come in every day and just keep this place running for a time that you didn't know when it would come. We didn't know when we'd open. I was watching Murphy's Pressers every day. And just for those 7 months that we were closed, I remember I was just talking to Nancy all the time. I said, maybe next Monday he'll open us. Maybe next Monday, maybe next Monday. And then we finally got word on September that we could open up. And then obviously we had to amend the state's plans to the return to campus plans for Rutgers, and a lot of work. But then since October 23rd, it's kind of been the same since then. Once we opened up and we were open to the public, outside of the visitor log and all the protocols we have, it's generally felt like it did before, just with a lot less people.
So you talk about the protocols. What exactly are the protocols at this point?
So there's two sets we have to follow. Well, really three. So there's New Jersey state guidelines that Murphy puts out with the executive orders. There's Cinema Safe that movie theaters are doing on our own in case states aren't doing enough. That's more of a national plan because like Texas and Georgia aren't doing enough protocols to make people feel safe. Then there's the Rutgers return to campus plan. We're a movie theater on a campus. So we're at 35% capacity. That's from the state. We have a visitor log. One member of each party has to fill out. That's Rutgers return to campus. We also have spacing of the movie start times and all that. So the lobby never gets filled with people. That's Cinema Safe. And I mean, I could go on. There's like 30 rules for each group, but making sure we're following all three and that they're all talking to each other while guests still have a good time is sort of the tightrope we're walking until things get back to normal.
Yeah, I'd imagine that people who are coming in are pretty happy to have that experience back. What kind of reactions have you gotten from people?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, honestly, this past weekend, it's such a cool time for me to talk to you all because Godzilla vs. Kong has really acted as almost a welcome back for everybody. We opened October 23rd, but I mean, as we know, that was opening. We were about to head straight into the teeth of the pandemic. So we weren't doing a lot of business. The business that we did were students that were living on campus, which was great because there are still student athletes that are living here. But in terms of the general public, they weren't comfortable going to movie theaters yet. But as we've gone on, as the cases have gone down, especially as vaccine rollouts sort of put people's mind at ease a little bit, people who've come out, I mean, it's like a welcome back. It's like a family reunion here. I'm seeing people, especially this past weekend, who I haven't seen since March 6th last year, who came here every weekend. So, they're grateful that it's open, and they're really happy that Rutgers let us open because that was a big thing, So they're super happy to be back. And it's really been, like I said, it's almost like you're having a reunion every 20 minutes right now, because it's just so many people who hadn't come here for a year. And now they're like, oh, we're back.
Yeah, I went to go see Godzilla vs. Kong in the theaters and that was the first time I've been in a movie theater for, you know, a year. And it really did feel like, as far as like things you could do that are inside, it really felt like kind of like as safe as you could be. It was like I was with like my two friends, and then like the next person was whatever, like 15 feet away from me. And there's just some things like, you know, it's on HBO Max, Godzilla, but it's like there's some things that you just want to see in a movie. It's just different, you know. It's like just a better experience, like something like that where you want to see a giant ape and a giant lizard. It's I don't want to watch that in my living room. I need to see that.
I actually didn't know that curse words were allowed on this podcast. You're bringing up a streaming service on me right now, but let's watch all these movies in a movie theater, please. But I mean, like you said, with the safety protocols and all that, like people who come here want to be out here, but they also understand what's going on. And you know, when I go to a restaurant to eat, nobody's mask can stay on, right? They all got to come off. It's part of the nature of it. You're in a movie theater, very easy for masks to stay on. You're just watching a movie. So it is a very safe thing to do inside if people want to sort of gradually step back into normality in these next few months. Movie theaters are a nice little gateway.
I think part of people's like thought process of like, you know, they're being afraid of it. It's just that like it's been something that like you can't do for so long. Like, you know, you said you couldn't open for like 7 months. So I felt like when you're getting told like for 7 months something that it isn't safe, it just takes a while for people to like get that kind of like out of that zone, you know, to get back into this.
There's actually a lot of NRG data that even today, like I just read the newest one this morning, only 56% of people even know their local movie theater's open right now. So 44% of people don't know that. And that means that the people who do find out it's open, it's almost as if they think it might be open too early or a step too soon and all that, when really we've been open for a while, just there haven't been new movies coming out to get their attention to it. But certainly I think that, you know, when people come here and they see what we're doing and they see what other movie theaters are doing too, because I got to say, every movie theater's been great about it. It is a great way for people to get more comfortable going out again, you know, because it is so easy to separate people in a movie theater. Most movie theaters have reserved seating, very easy to separate folks out. And it's just a nice way to come back in a sense, because there's going to be a very uneasy period, I think, between someone getting the shot 2 weeks out. Okay, well, now I can do things. And I think movie theaters are a great way back for them.
So kind of walk me through the process. So is it like normal? You buy a ticket at the theater, or do you have to reserve? What's the process at this point?
So in terms of ticket buying, it's pretty much normal, but that's because we were already trending toward mobile tickets before this happened. So someone can you can buy the tickets online, come in, scan it. You won't come within 10 feet of us if you don't want to, because we could just scan it and you walk in. You can also buy tickets in the lobby because some people just want to do that. There's plexiglass all over the place. Then when you go down into the theater, we just have as much signage as Rutgers would allow me to buy, which, you know, is stay 6 feet apart from people. We created our own signs that said no one in front of or behind you, along with 2 seats to your left and right. I also have a short minute-long little cartoon that airs before the movies telling people to keep your mask on, we're all in this together, that type of messaging. So really, and along with all the signage on the doors that every Rutgers building has, you know, those big red ones with the 4 squares and all. So really, from the second you start walking in until you leave, and there's hand sanitizer all over the place too, you're just it's a very safe atmosphere, and it's very in your face with what we're doing. Like, stay separate, stay apart from people. And really, as long as the atmosphere of the building with the staff is following the same stuff, I think it's easy for people to follow along.
So I know Godzilla versus King Kong is the big thing now. What else is coming down the pipeline?
Well, you know, that's the $1 million question, because these movies are always moving, because the studio's the same way. We don't know when things are going to get back to full normality. studios don't either. So right now, it certainly looks like Mortal Kombat in 3 weeks will be a good one. But again, that's HBO Max. The first big movie that is not going to be available at home the same day is May 28th. That's Quiet Place 2, which is fitting because that was the first movie that got delayed last year. After that, you really have a gluttony of huge movies through June and July, whether it's In the Heights, Fast and Furious 9, Top Gun 2, Black Widow, Conjuring 3, Free Guy. I mean, just a massive amount of movies that are just going to come out because Hollywood finished filming these movies a year ago and they're just waiting to release them. So there's going to be a stretch in time where 12 weeks in a row, you're dealing with a movie that would be the biggest movie of a quarter. So it's going to be fun. But like I said, it's all fluid. You just never know. Europe's having trouble with the virus right now. And if Europe's not open by mid-May, who knows what Disney does with Black Widow. So still waiting. But right now, May 28th looks like the big kickoff to what should be a huge movie season for everybody.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'm excited for when Black Widow is in theaters because there's something about like the Marvel movies specifically that are so much more fun to watch in a theater.
Yeah, and if you can ever look it up, I mean, Avengers Endgame has kind of become a rallying cry for film Twitter, I call it, because the reactions in the final hour of Avengers Endgame in those movie theaters, especially here, I knew when it was 20 minutes from the end because I'd hear cheering through the walls.
Yeah.
Like it was like rock concerts all across the country on the same weekend. I mean, we were open 72 out of 76 human hours that weekend, and we still could have sold out more. I just had to go home at 4:30 in the morning. Like it was unbelievable. And it'll come back, like you said, Marvel and movie theaters just go hand in hand. So it's a little disappointing. They're going day and date with Black Widow, but certainly with Doctor Strange next spring or Thor, as these big movies keep coming out, I mean, it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be cathartic, I think, for people to be together cheering for something again inside, and they get home and they feel safe doing it.
Yeah. What does day and date mean?
So day and date means that the same day it comes out in theaters, you can buy it at home for $30 on Disney Plus. Godzilla vs. Kong was one step past that. It was day and date, but it's free if you have an HBO Max subscription. Black Widow is not quite that bad, but day and date is it's the enemy of movie theaters because all we have is our content that's exclusive to us. So we want an exclusivity window that tends to go 90 days. Looks like it'll shrink to 45. But day and date is a nightmare because if someone doesn't want to come to Rutgers Cinema, they can watch Black Widow at home for $30. So not great, but hopefully it's a pandemic model. And once we come out of it, they're gone.
Yeah. It's just not the same. It's just not the same as a theater. Yeah.
No, it's not. Hopefully everyone else feels the same way you do.
Yeah. So to end us, as someone who appreciates movies, let's narrow it down to one. What is one must-see movie in your mind that if no one's ever seen it, then they're doing something wrong?
Just one movie?
Yeah. If you were to boil it down to one movie.
So trilogies don't count. I can't cheat and say Lord of the Rings because that's 3 movies. So one movie. Oh man. That's a level 400 question. I mean, I guess it's all personal taste, but oh man. I mean, how do you? I guess for modern day people, just go Iron Man 1. It's our Star Wars. It doesn't get enough credit. They have made a $30 billion foundation of a franchise based off of one perfect movie. No movie since that one is perfect. Iron Man 1 is still a perfect movie. You get a movie star doing what movie stars do. You get action. You get fun. It's a very light watch. I would say Iron Man 1, and if you haven't watched it in a while, go back and realize how perfect that movie is because it's really built the entire MCU. And because I'm a salesman, it'll keep people coming back every four months for the Marvel movie.
I agree. I love that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Alex, thank you for coming on and for talking to us about the movie theater and about the Rutgers Cinema. And as we do every episode, we'll give you the last word. If there's any last pitch, anything else you want to say?
Everybody, we're open. I know that's the big question. We've been open since October 23rd, but any fact staff watching, bring your families out. We are open, normal hours, so please come out. I know even, like I said before, 46% of people don't know their local movie theater is open. I would double that for Rutgers staff because you wouldn't assume Rutgers Cinema is open. Rutgers has done a great job letting me open up. We're open here. Please come out.
You heard it here first. Thanks for listening, everyone.